No, is this
You
what?
mother.
I'm sorry. This is not on. It's supposed to be. Oh,
All right. Well, for some reason, I don't know if that was coming through or not. I didn't hear it. Did you hear that music?
no, I didn't hear any music.
Yeah, that was weird. We should have music coming through there, but we didn't. So I'm hoping that this is checking here. Let me check the mic. What's going on, guys? What's going on? It looks like it's all there. So maybe it was because the stereo. I don't know, but that's weird. Normally we can hear that music. But hey, how's everybody doing? Sorry we're late here. I'm scatterbrained, but Bobo and Andrew here with you. What's up, brother?
Oh, what's up?
My boy, my boy. Yes, sir. We got a little rigged setup over here tonight. The lighting isn't quite the same as it was last time, but that's all right. You cool with that, man?
Hey man, just make me look pretty.
Oh yeah, you look pretty. You look like you got a tan. That's for damn sure.
It's like orange.
So, man, I don't know what was up with this, but I could not hear that music. I'm curious as to why that is the case. Yeah, none of that. That's weird. All right, I'm gonna have to check on that later. I'm sure it's something I did wrong with this over here, but anyways, we just saw Thor: Love and Thunder tonight, guys, and boy, do we have some
Some
stuff to
notes.
say. Oh shit. Um. Well, I'm gonna let you go first, dude.
uh, where do I start?
Did you like it?
I I liked it. Okay, I would give this maybe a D plus C. You know, th- I enjoyed it more I enjoyed it more once the third act came in. Um, things got way more serious. The first of all, if you liked Ragnarok, you were told that you're going to like this, and I understand that. I understand the concept, the idea of you would like Ragnarok, so you would like this. I get it. I totally get it. But the comedy in the first two acts of the whole thing is just way over the top. I mean, first of all, what happened to Thor? Why did they make Thor suddenly? If you remember back to Thor from the very first time you're introduced to him, I mean, he is this brooding, muscular god who is desperately trying to be the king of Asgard, and you know, and of course he has the inner struggle of realizing that he has to be willing to rule to help people and not be so self-absorbed. I get that, but he was still a serious human being. He was still or not human being. He was still a serious
Asgardian.
he was
being.
still he was still a serious Asgardian being, you know. And he wasn't trying to come off as some like dumb bimbo male version of a cheerleader. And suddenly along the way, uh, he's just become this mindless this mindless moron who is buff and strong and a god. And I just don't get why that's so why that seems to be where they were going. And I understand that it was like he's trying to find his way. He doesn't know him after all these years of living and being a god. He doesn't seem to know himself. Like, oh, okay, that's great, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean you have to turn him into this blonde buff bimbo who says things that are just it doesn't match up with the character that we've been introduced from the first two films, even from Avengers.
No, it seems like a different character altogether. No question.
That's not the same Thor.
At least in Rocky 1, while Rocky 1 and Rocky 4 are vastly different, it's the same character.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At least that's there. But you're right. This one, you've got a guy that's an Endgame and Infinity War. And then, I mean, in Thor 2, with, the Dark World, with serious things happening. And he's taking it seriously. Like in an Infinity War, like when he shows up, I love it when Mark Ruffalo is just like, oh, you guys are all screwed.
Dude, that's one of the best parts.
Yeah, because it feels like something. It feels like you're about to be like, holy shit. This mofo is about to come down and do what Thor does. He's the god of thunder. I felt like he was the god of thunder in those movies. And in this one, you're right, man. He feels like, while he's more ripped than he's ever been in his entire life or anytime we've seen him in film in this movie, for sure, he just seems, they've taken this sort of, like you said, goofy kind of frat boy. I don't know. I never felt like I wanted to be Thor in this movie. And in the other three movies I did, in Infinity War, I did. I wanted to be him. But in this one, I didn't feel like, and I was telling our buddy Adam, who went and saw this with us, it didn't check off the box for the superhero movie thing that I need most. Is when I walk out of it, I need to be getting the chills and I need to be feeling like I want to be that dude. And I just wasn't feeling that way at the end of this movie.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I've heard you say that before. Like, like with the Batman, you're like, when I walked out of the Batman, I was like, I did not want to be that dude, And so yeah, I guess you could say it's the same kind of feeling here.
Yeah, and I definitely am worried that now it's a machine and they're all going to be just sort of comic booky and cartoony like this. And yeah, Thor Ragnarok was definitely a change of pace from more movies and what we had seen, but it still worked and it was still a nice blend. This one was pretty cartoony, I mean, I don't even know if we're going to go ahead and get into the end right now, but we are talking about spoilers in this. Well, first off, let me talk about the things I did like. Korg, awesome, hilarious. Everything he said was great and funny. I thought he was perfectly put in there. And we all know it's done. Taika Waititi is the guy who does that character. So like all that was great. I really loved him. Natalie Portman, I thought that she was good enough. She didn't really stand out too much, but she wasn't like ruining it for me. I didn't necessarily think her character was all that necessary to the film and just to be added. However, Christian Bale, he's amazing in everything he does. He was just as amazing in this. I would have liked to have seen more of him, honestly. I thought he was just a very scary, good villain.
Let me piggyback on some of those real quick before I lose train of thought and you carry on. Jane Foster,
What up, Clinto?
I don't understand. I don't get why they completely left her completely away from the canon that is the Thor story after the Dark World. I mean, they did.
Because she didn't want to come back.
Okay, well that's okay. Well,
she was mad at him about some stuff.
Okay, that's fine. But they could have at least. Was there not a mention of her name in Infinity War? Was there not a mention of her name in Endgame?
Well, yeah, he goes.
Oh, that's right. He was talking about how she's got the ether. Okay.
Well, but he even goes back and they show her from behind and stuff like that when he goes back to Asgard from the past.
Yeah, but that's because they had to.
But what I'm saying is they do mention her.
Yeah,
but she wasn't on contract yet then, and she didn't want to come back yet because she was still pissed.
And he just never really seemed all that grief ridden about losing Jane
until Endgame.
Yeah,
I agree.
And why did she in this entire movie not mention anything? I mean, was she blipped as they call it? Was she turned to dust when she came back? I mean,
remember they said in this movie that they just got drifted apart.
Drifted apart, but that would.
I'm not saying I like it. I'm just telling you this is the explanation.
It was their way of explaining that they had drifted apart after so many years, and they literally like showed flashbacks, which were they're not really flashbacks. It was like we're gonna tell you a story about Jane Foster and Thor and their relationship. And as they're telling the story of what happened to them, they're showing you all these things that we never, ever, ever, ever saw happen with them, where it made it seem as if Thor was trying to live a normal human life. And I'm like, there's no way that happened. And there's no way he had time for that to happen.
I agree. I agree, man. I definitely don't. I don't think that they are really having their finger on the pulse of what we want as fans of Thor and these comic book characters, like they did in the beginning. In the beginning, they had their finger on the pulse with all this stuff. Now they're losing even the most deep-rooted hardcore people. In fact, I think they're losing the hardcore fans and using more of the and gaining more of the new, more young fans that are just learning about these guys through the movies. They're just relying on them to sell these movies and be like, you'll buy it. You don't really know about the source material. Whereas like us fanboys who really know about the source material, we're like, man, you were doing great. Now you're drifting.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I guess even the whole like Thor thing is, I mean, she references like, I am the mighty Thor. Like,
and okay. The reason they said that is because this is what they do in comic books. They always try to revamp and revisionist and release things, whether it be a name of an old school title. They'll, you know what, let's revamp the old Spectacular Spider-Man title, but let's really do it this way, and it'll be the new Spectacular Spider-Man. Well, when they did the whole Jane Foster thing, they hadn't used the term the Mighty Thor since like the 70s for a comic book title, and so her monthly title was called The Mighty Thor. So that's all. That whole thing for her saying that line, all that was a set up fan service thing for her to say that so they can be like, it's Mighty Thor. It's like, oh, there you go.
Yeah, no, I get that, you know, like the whole like Avengers Assemble kind of thing, but but does that mean that Thor is not really his name? Because now,
right, yeah,
now somebody else can be Thor. Like, well, okay, well, is that really not your name or not?
She was saying you're a true Thor, and they had never said that. In the past.
That whole thing was so weird.
And so, spoiler alert here too, guys. One of the things that happens in the end is that all these kids are. One of the things is Christian Bale, his character Gore the God Butcher, is taking all these Asgardian kids hostage, and he's keeping them in some other place called like the Shadow World or Shadowland. It's like all dark and nobody can get there. They have to find their way there, and I don't buy the seriousness of it all, and the lore just changes it up completely, because you're supposed to be, when I say I don't buy the seriousness of it, it's supposed to be these kids, and they could have really gone this dark route of these kids being kidnapped, and they kind of focus on their fear a little bit. They could have just gotten way scarier with that. But then once Thor finds them, and yes, there's this whole thing with him having a different weapon at the time. He's got Zeus's lightning bolt, and we'll get to that in a second. But so he's fighting with Zeus's lightning bolt, but all of a sudden it gives him the power to spread the power of Thor to everyone and all these kids. So essentially all the weapons they're holding, which are like broken pieces of swords and statues, all become Mjolnir in a sense, and they all become, it's so out there. And it just ruined it for me. It's like, you guys are making up lore on the spot here, I think.
Yeah. Kind of like what you said. It's become one of those things like, well, you just have to believe whatever we write is how it goes. Like,
we're not idiots.
Yeah. So don't even get me started on Zeus. Okay. So they go to a place like, I guess I don't remember what it's called. Bobby, you can correct me if but they go to a place where it's all the gods have all the gods go there, and they talk about, I mean, think about it as like in a group of elite politicians who come to this place and they talk about things that are happening around the world. But now these people are gods, and they're talking about things that are happening around the world. And so they are there to convince Zeus to send an army of gods to fight Gore, the God Butcherer. And
so that's Russell Crowe right there on the screen,
right,
as Zeus.
And they make Zeus look like the biggest bitch, the biggest wimp, the just anything you can think about. They make him that is completely degrading to Zeus as a god. They totally do, and I don't understand the point of that. They, I mean, Zeus is supposed to be the greatest god of all of them, and they made him such. One of the lines he says is, "You can't come to the orgy." Like,
And
are
then
you, what?
a
Are
lot.
you kidding me?
He starts talking. Well, that's all Taika Waititi. I mean, that's straight up Taika's sense of humor. He's trying to be as dirty as he possibly can in a Disney production. I know that's what it was for, but that doesn't mean it's right to put in a movie,
right? You know, sure, yeah, of course. And that, but again, like, you can make him an asshole where he doesn't want to help anybody else, and because the whole point was that, you know, just like Gore the God Butcher is saying, like, the gods are not helping you. They are not interested in helping you. You're dying and they don't care. That's the whole kind of thing with Gore the God Butcher, is that the gods don't care about you. Okay, well, you could at least make Zeus look like an asshole, where, you know, he's this brooding, testosterone filled, a steroid ridden god who really ultimately just cares about himself. That would work better.
It would have been menacing.
That,
you know?
yeah, that would have worked better than making him just seem like some.
Well, and again, so this another thing this movie was it was more of a comedy than a Marvel movie or an action movie or a superhero movie. It was all those things, but it was more of a comedy. Those other things were like side notes. And I get the joke that they're trying to do with, it's like, oh, look, Maximus Aurelius from Gladiator. Oh, he's Zeus now, and he's some fat, stubborn, goofy dude.
Yeah.
I get the joke, but how cool would it have been to have the Maximus Aurelius looking motherfucker from Gladiator up there, all intimidating with his big, you know, when Russell Crowe was Gladiator? Yeah. That would have been cool. But so, like, I get the joke, but it just didn't work for me like it should have.
And I will have my vengeance.
Yeah. And then, like, when he walks down and he lifts his little tutu up, that was too much. I mean, man.
Awful.
That was too much.
Yeah, there's a moment where he walks. There's a moment where he walks down the stairs and he lifts his little skirt up that he's wearing.
Yeah, you can't see right here, but he's got like a little white. It looks like a white cheerleader skirt. It's like an old Greek, you know. Like,
yeah, for sure, like a Greek tunic or what you know,
whatever they're called. Yeah,
yeah, and he lifts it up like a girl. It's just awful. It's really awful. And that, I mean, that right there, I'm just like, okay, I see what you guys are doing. You're trying to, it was every effort they could to make it seem like the men were not as powerful as you think they were. Let's degrade all let's find a way to degrade all of the men who are powerful, and let's find a way to make it to whatever it is that they were trying to do. And it was not necessary.
No, it wasn't necessary. And look, I like Thor Ragnarok, and I like the jokes, and I like the lighthearted element that movie had that it incorporated. However, it still gave me the chills. It still made me want to be Thor. It still got me all like pumped up, feeling like a kid watching a superhero movie. And it had heavy moments to where you felt like the real threats, and it felt for real. It felt serious, and you got in there. This movie felt too much of a comedy the whole way through. Even in the moments that were supposed to be serious, it's kind of felt like a comedy. Like, even when Gore the God Butcher is like getting the upper hand at one point at the very end, then as soon as Jay makes it back to there, they're being all quippy again and everything. And it's like, I want y'all to stop that for a little while, get into like a good 20, 30 minute serious moment of just, wow, this shit's hitting the fan. And then finally ended up with a nice little quippy remark or something, you know, like Stallone would say at the end, like in a Rambo movie or something, you know,
yeah.
But instead it was the whole way through. Some of the jokes I thought were really funny. Some of them didn't land for me.
Yeah. They do this whole thing where they got these oversized goats.
And they do the
yeah, the crazy, which was made famous on a TikTok video or whatever, or a YouTube video where these the screaming goats. They use that they literally use that sound effect, which is funny. It was funny the third time. It was not funny the sixth time.
The 60th time, how about?
Yeah.
I mean, and look, because of the redundancy of it and how much they were using it, that became a joke in itself for me too. So I found myself being like, oh my God, they're using it again. So like, I was laughing at things like that. But overall, I mean, look, I will say one part of the movie that didn't bother me at all in any aspects. Well, Korg I thought was funny the whole way through, but I love Tessa Thompson. Not only do I think she's a good actor, but she's smoking hot. So I love her in this. I thought she was great. I want to see more of her. But even then, the way they handled her character, with her just being like more of like a diplomatic mascot for the on Earth Asgard, and she's like training all the kids. I don't know. It just seems like a Disney movie, kind of. It didn't seem like an old school MCU movie like Iron Man or even Guardians. It felt like a Disney movie.
Well, yeah. Some of it seems a little. So okay, maybe I'm wrong, but Valkyrie, she's not a god, she's not a goddess. So, and other is Jane, who suddenly can now wield the power of Thor.
No, but
so some of that seems a little like, how are they?
She's like a general, though. She's what we thought Vecna was, kind of. She's like that. She's kind of like the one of the. She still has a lot of power, and she still is a badass, but she isn't a goddess. I mean, you're right. She's not.
So it did seem a little it did seem a little like there's a battle. Okay, so spoiler alert.
Spoiler talkers.
They when you realize that Zeus is just a little bitch, and he's not he doesn't even talk the way he doesn't even talk the way that he should probably talk. If you're thinking about it like a Greek god. So they have a full on battle where they just destroy all of these. They fight all of these minions, for lack of a better word, for that Zeus has used to strip down Thor and strip him naked, which was just gratuitous. Was just they just did that.
See, that part was funny to me.
It was funny, but they just did it.
Flick too hard, damn it.
Yeah. And then so the girls are supposed to be over there on the side waiting for a signal to to go and start a fight and take the lightning bolt that is Zeus's, because they realize they need that lightning bolt to fight Gore. And it just seems a little weird to me that the god that Zeus, the god of lightning, as Thor says, can now be wielded and held by Valkyrie, who's not a god.
Yeah, I mean,
that kind of stuff is weird to me.
I agree, man. I think that there's a lot of things in this, kind of like we've been talking about with No Way Home and Doctor Strange, that Doctor Strange not being as bad and No Way Home or this. And when I say being as bad, I mean being laxed with the rules and just sort of being like, oh, we expect you guys to just buy it and believe it.
Yeah. Well, you'll like it anyway, so just watch it.
But I mean, yeah, this one, it's just, they really went overboard with all these just rules that they were just like, come on, but this isn't supposed to make sense. And again, I understand Taika Waititi's style. I understand that what we do in the shadows. I understand the one that he did that had Scarlett Johansson and a little kid about the Nazi movie. That was all great, but even Ragnarok, great, I love it. But I feel like you're shoving yourself down our throats in this movie and not making it a Thor movie. You're making it a Taika Waititi movie that's got Thor in it. You know what I'm saying?
That's nicely put. Yeah. That's I'd have to agree. With a little bit of with sprinkles of Disney and everything that they want to put in their Disney movies.
And that's the thing too. They're getting out of hand with the LED screens. I'm sorry. Like, I get it that it's affordable and it's a good way to film, and I understand that it's just like this new technology that's groundbreaking and it can work really well. But I feel like that they were just using it so much. Like, I still I think the idea of filmmaking is a lot more respectable if you're capturing as much as you can in film, in camera, and then doctoring that up. Not just, all right, here's a full-on generated fake background. The only thing in this shot that's real are the costumes and a couple of props and the people. Like, that just doesn't make for a good movie anymore.
Pretty soon it may
needs
not
to
even
be
people.
filmed. Yeah. They might be like, oh, we like your look. Let's 3D map you real quick. And then, oh, cool, we'll pay you every time we use your mapping.
Yeah. 15 years from now, all the Marvel movies are gonna be just it's all it's CGI'd, but it looks real.
Yeah. I mean, I want it to go back to real making movies.
So also, they have it to where Zeus attacks Thor. Thor catches the lightning bolt and he sends it right back into him and kills him. Like, are y'all effing kidding me?
Oh, the MCFDU?
Yeah, you're gonna
the Marvel Cinematic Fake Dead Universe.
Yeah, you're gonna have Thor, God of Thunder, catches the lightning bolt of Zeus, the ultimate god, as they say, and he kills him. I mean, I mean,
yeah, dude.
And then so kind of going what we said at the end. So suddenly now, for a moment there, Valkyrie actually is the one who's like wielding the lightning bolt as if it's her fucking sword, and now she's the one who is all powerful Zeus. And it's like, no, that's not at all accurate. That's not at all like a thing. Like, that should not be a thing.
Well, and the thing is they explain so many things about being worthy and all this stuff, and now it's just like everybody's worthy of everything.
Yeah, apparently.
No one's special. Let's send them home with a losing medal. You know, with a participation award. Here you go.
I guess it's Cap's fault in Endgame.
Yeah, you son of a bitch, Cap. You got to change everything up. And I mean, look, it was super mythological, more mythological than any other Thor movies, and Thor is a mythological character. The whole thing is based on that. But this one, like, was so mythological that it got out of hand. It took me out of the whole feeling of, I mean, this felt very much like a part 4. It didn't feel like, even though part 3 was a diversion of what the other two felt like, it still felt like it was finishing up something. You know what I mean? Felt like it was a part 3, like all these things are coming to an end.
You mean Ragnarok?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, Ragnarok. If you watch Ragnarok, the very end of Ragnarok picks up where Infinity War.
Oh yeah.
Well, it was necessary.
But I'm even talking about just keep them as 3 Thor movies. Don't even think about Endgame and Infinity War. Thor 3 still felt like, as a whole, was wrapping up something that 1 and 2 had started. This felt like a tag-on movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
It didn't. It just feels like part of that machine now, man. And I have to say, overall, even though like the humor was there, and you know what they should have called it is Guns N' Roses presents Thor: Love and Thunder, because there was like 4 or 5 Guns N' Roses songs. One of the characters' name in there is Axel, and they say that they named him after the Rock. I mean, all that was cool, I guess, but it was a little too. Like, it was just too much of a party of a movie. I feel like, yeah, I'll buy it and I'll own it, but I'm not going to be like most Marvel movies. I never put them on just to put them on, because I want to sit down and watch them.
Yeah.
Because I want to be like, dude, this is, oh man. And it's just an intricate film. This is one of those movies that I'll be cool with putting on in the background while I'm doing some editing, because that's the type of movie it is.
Yeah.
It's just full of party stuff. It's nothing significant really happened. I feel like nothing was like, I mean, dude, you got Helena in part 3, and then Odin dies. I mean, there's significant things going on.
That's a fantastic point.
You know, and it's just like, this is a tag-on movie.
Yeah.
It felt like Solo.
Well, I mean, so I would also, if I had a collection like you, I would also be like, I'll own this, but I'll talk shit about it.
Yeah.
And even the secret scene, even the final end credit scene, all they give us is Jane Foster having died and is now welcome in Valhalla, where all the gods who have died are welcome.
She's with Idris Elba's character, which I can't. Haldo is his name, I think.
Heimdall,
and his son is Axel.
Yeah, so it's like the secret scene, the end credit scene. The best you guys could do is you give us Jane Foster's spirit going into Valhalla. Are you serious?
Are you serious, man?
So I guess one positive thing I will throw out there is that the Christian Bale, holy moly, is it any wonder that the best Batman we've ever seen on screen is now probably one of the best villains in Marvel that we've ever seen?
They just needed more of him.
There's just need more of him. When that guy is on screen, especially after that sword really starts possessing him,
But even from the second you see him,
I mean,
he's compelling even when you see him before he's the villain. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, he really is. But there's a moment where the kids that he's captured, and he kind of just appears out of nowhere, and he looks with the darkness they have in the backdrop. He looks like a skeleton with like yellow eyes talking to him. It's really,
he's
really
phenomenal.
cool and really creepy.
If they would have gone if they would have gone back and forth between some of the jokes and lightheartedness, and then really dove into that darkness of his character more and give us more of that, I might have had a better taste in my mouth of this movie. But he wasn't in it enough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess the point wasn't to have him in it enough, I guess, really. But even then, even so, like, what I was really trying to say was like the redemption quality that he has is really, really something. So he's really not an evil guy. The sword possesses him, and takes over him and kind of starts, turning him more and more evil, and vengeance for the gods. And there's quite a few religious undertones, I guess you could say, where you know uh you're dying, and what does your god have to say about it now? You and pointing at all these species, and all the gods that represent these different species. Where's your god? And ultimately the redemption is Thor calling him out and saying, the only thing that you really want is love. You want your daughter back. Make the right decision. Bring your daughter back. You have this chance, and we will make sure that she's taken care of. And that's a redemption story.
Yeah, it was, and that was cool. But I also, again, I think establishing a villain is just as important as establishing your hero. And if you just throw us this guy and they didn't really explain the sword a whole lot. It's just, oh, here it is. It's there. It's about to, I get it. I'm sure it's from a god that had failed, and it was still there, and he just happened to be there. Maybe it was about, but they just, all of a sudden the sword's happening, and now he's possessed. And yes, his daughter died in the beginning, and I like that. And I did like the redemption story, and I do like the idea of having an undertone of love. I think that's great.
Right.
I really do like that, but
it was very contrite. The whole story of the sword at the beginning was a very contrite thing. Like almost like we have to rush this story in real quick.
Well,
so get the story in real quick about the sword and move on.
It was only 2 hours too. I mean, they could have gone a little more with it. Honestly, I wasn't. The only reason I was really ready for it to end was because at this point I was like, all right, I get this movie. This is what it is. It's a comedy, and it's got some action in it, but it's mostly comedy. Overall, I mean, I'm trying to see if I got anything more else written, down here. I think I could have done without the Jane Foster storyline. I think that they just did that in there to try to, and I'm not dogging on Natalie Portman. I do feel like it feels like they put her in there so they could get more of a female audience. Not that it was like, look at this badass story we have. You know what I mean? I think same thing. I think instead of having an awesome movie that needs to be made, it feels like a sequel. They're like, so how do we do something? You know what? Try to do this. Okay, let's write in the Jane Foster story. You know what I mean? It felt like that they were put to a task by Disney, and they were like, okay, well, we can do it this way. You know what I mean? Not necessarily, guys, check out this screenplay. And somebody reads it and they're like, oh shit, dude, we got to make this. You know what I mean? It feels like it was very fabricated in a lab, and let's try to hit all the points.
And we pointed this out before. It's very, it can be summed up in one scene that we pointed out before with Endgame.
Which one?
Don't worry, she's got help.
Oh yes, yeah. And then and they all walk up, and
it's like women power. Like, come on, as if Captain Marvel needs help from these women who are not nearly as powerful as her. Like, that's not necessary. It's not necessary to have that scene.
Well, and again,
it's fabricated.
Well, that's the thing. The reason I don't mind you having the strong women in the movie. Just make them strong in the movie. Don't, make this scene to where you're patronizing women in general and being like, so let's shoehorn this moment, let them have their moment, And to me, it's disrespectful. So like, if you want to make them strong, just do like you did more like with Tessa Thompson's character. Just have her as a badass the whole time. You know what I mean? Have somebody just a badass. Don't make it clear to the audience, okay, everybody, here's their moment.
And she's introduced to us as a fucking drunk badass too.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
No,
and Ragnarok, you see her and she's like tossing bottles away after she like chugs them, and she's still a badass.
She gets a little buzzed in this one too, and she basically, I think they were just kind of referring to, she still throws down. Yeah. Well, hey, we said we were going to try to keep this around 30 minutes, so we're at 35. So overall, we do it every time. We grade them. What do you grade it?
I'm going to give this a D+.
Ooh, yeah, that's worse than me. I'm just giving it a straight C. Because there's some stuff that I do enjoy about it, but I don't think it was awesome. So like, it's just an average movie to me. So,
well, there you go.
Well, guys, thank y'all so much for joining me again for another live round of, I don't know what we're calling this, but some spoiler talk. And again, I'm not sure if my music is playing or not. I can't hear it through my headphones, but it could be something I'm doing wrong. But hey, if it's not playing this time, I'll play it. It'll definitely be working next time. But thank you again for joining us, guys. Hit that subscribe button if you like the video, and hit the like button too.
And be ready for next coming soon, Stranger Things spoiler talk.
Yeah, we're going to be doing that real soon, like in the next couple of days. And then also, our short film Lake Court is almost done.
What?
Oh yes. So I can't wait. We got a special guest sitting over here and enjoying our company. We got live studio audience over here. Adam. Yeah, he's actually the killer in the movie, but we're not going to show his face, so you don't know what he looks like. Oh, look, my buddy over here, Matt Pilcher, just said, not enough She-Hulk. Nice. Good. And then we got Derpy Gaming said, not enough cowbell in the movie. Nice.
Oh, yeah.
He also says that Ragnarok sucks, so does Thor Love and Thunder. Yeah, we're not talking too good about Thor Love and Thunder, but
Ragnarok was badass.
I like Ragnarok a lot. I think Ragnarok's great, but they went too far with Thor Love and Thunder. But I definitely agree with everything. Not enough cowbell in the movie. There's never enough cowbell in any movie. And then I think my buddy Matt Pilcher, it's a guy I grew up with, Pilch Dad. He's definitely making fun of the She-Hulk thing. He's not even a fan of these movies, but I know he's just talking shit with this. So, well, guys, thank you for joining and putting in the comments. I just wanted to get to those. And look out for the Stranger Things video. And look out for Lake Court coming soon. And I got another Thor review I'm going to be putting out that's not a spoiler talk, just kind of just going like my regular reviews, that are all edited and shit. So, hey, remember, guys, if life gives you lemons,
mix them up fresh popcorn.